Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's your host, Raul Infante with Taking Dish Sports here with my co-host, Alexis Diaz. What's going on?
What's going on, guys? How we doing?
Yeah, here we go. We're going to be talking about UFC 235 on March 2nd, 2019. We're going to start off by talking about the matchups, the predictions, and most importantly, we want to hear what you guys think about the fights. We want to hear your opinions. Please comment. Feel free to let us know how the fights are going to end up. So we're going to start off by talking about Jeremy Stephens against Zabit. Second, Cody Garbrandt against Pedro Munoz. Third, Ben Askren against Robbie Lawler. Fourth, Usman against Woodley. And saving the best for last is going to be Smith versus John Bones Jones. So I'm going to start with this. Zabit is going to end up winning this fight by decision. Most importantly, because Jeremy Stephens has struggled against common opponents that have the reach advantage, have great takedown defense, and most importantly, could end up fighting on the outside. Jeremy Stephens has a left hook from hell, and these fighters are extremely disciplined, just how Zabit is. So that's my prediction for that. I don't know your take on that, Alexi.
See, with this fight that's going on, I love Jeremy Stephens because he brings a lot of energy when he fights. You know, he's going to be throwing punches as soon as that the bell rings. But with Zabit, he has an unorthodox style. You know, he has this weird fighting stance, you know. He's going to be able to pick Jeremy Stephens apart because he has the reach and he's a smart fighter. And he's one of those guys that's a hybrid. He has a great takedown game. He has a great stand-up. He has a great leg kick, which I think, to be honest with you, what's going to play out is that he's going to be targeting Stephens' body, his legs, and I could see a second-round stoppage from the ref because I think that Zabit's going to target Stephens' legs and his core, and he's going to do his thing, and the second round comes, he's going to take him down to the floor and ground and pound, and I see it. Second round TKO.
Well, that's unfortunate because somebody like Jeremy Stephens really needs a bounce back fight. You know, he did really good against Choi and Josh Emmett. You know, I thought it was a questionable stop against Emmett, but hey, you know, he got stopped against Jose Aldo. Now fighting against Zabit, you know, I'm going to give him credit. He fights anybody. So at the end of the day, win or lose, Jeremy Stephens is still a fan favorite. But we're going to move on to Garbrandt versus Munoz, which is actually one of my favorite fights of the night. Cody, no love Garbrandt is ironically showing a lot of love to Munoz as we've seen in the presser. One of the things was that when he fought TJ, it was straight aggression the whole time. It was clear that both of the fighters did not like each other. And I thought that was actually a disadvantage for Garbrandt because, you know, it seemed like he just got away from his game plan a little bit. You know, a lot of his shots were looping. It could have gone either way, you know. He ended up hurting TJ multiple times in both fights. And, you know, either one could have won that fight. But at the end of the day, he lost both fights. With this fight, I think if he comes with more controlled aggression, I think it's going to be the key to this fight. He comes out here throwing straighter punches. And with Munoz having an orthodox style and straighter shots, as I said before, I really think that Garbrandt could pull the W in this fight. What do you think?
See, with this fight card, one thing I noticed is that it's going to be a lot of entertaining fights. And this is going to be one of those entertaining fights that I think is going to have a great chance of fight of the night. Because I actually see this fight going to the distance. And the reason I say that is because Cody's last two fights against Dillashaw, like you said, any of those fighters could have taken it. Dillashaw hurt him, you know. But Cody also had a chance to actually, you know, get the W.
Absolutely.
But what I do like about Pedro Munoz, though, is that he's coming from American Top Team. You know he's going to be prepared. There's a big fight for him also. Cody at one time was a top 3 fighter in his division. So it's going to be a good challenge for Pedro Munoz.
Yeah, and even top 10 in pound for pound, you know, in my opinion. And then I know UFC.com had him there as well. So, you know, that's a great prediction. But you know what? Give him one. This is my prediction. I honestly think that Cody Garbrandt is going to come out here and TKO Pedro Munoz in the second round. So that's my prediction. In the second round.
It's going to go long distance. Third round, judges scored.
Well, we'll see. So the third fight, we're going to have Ben Askren versus Robbie Lawler. Listen, I really love this fight. I keep saying it for all the fights. I love them all. But this fight, again, is very interesting. You have Ben Askren that came from one championship, the most famous trade in UFC history, sending Mighty Mouse to one championship when Ben Askren was the one champion. And then also, he used to be a former Bellator champion as well. And now fighting Robbie Lawler. You know, Dana White stated that it's all good between him and Ben Askren, but in my opinion, I don't know, man. He threw him a tough matchup, throwing him Robbie Lawler, even though Robbie Lawler is more on the down point of his career now.
See, when fighters make the transition from Bellator and other MMA promotions and they come to UFC, normally their UFC debut is like, like an average fighter, quote unquote, someone where, let's see what this guy has. Ben Askren has probably been the best fighter in the past couple of years coming from Bellator to fight in the UFC. So I could see why Dana White gave him Robbie Lawler to fight him. But you got to also think about, Robbie Lawler hasn't fought in almost a year and a half, almost 2 years, and Robbie Lawler's past 3 fights, he goes 1-2. So what I think is going to happen here is that Ben Askren is going to show the UFC that he's here in his time. Because we're not talking about a dude that only has 7, 8, 9 fights. Like you were saying.
18-0,
exactly.
absolutely.
And the guy is a champion, a Bellator champion.
And one championship as well,
Exactly.
No joke.
And it's interesting, though, because recently Dan Cormier came out and said that if Ben Askren takes you to the ground, you're not getting up.
Wow. Yeah,
and that's a strong statement because there's a lot of great collegiate wrestlers in the UFC. And for him to say that, I don't know. I think it's going to be a long day for Robbie Lawler.
Absolutely. And listen, this is my take. I thought that Robbie Lawler actually lost both fights against Johnny Hendricks. And nothing taken away from Robbie Lawler. He's a hell of a fighter. He's one of my favorite fighters. Fighter of the year, fighter of the night all the time. Him and a couple other fighters constantly get bonuses for fight of the night or performance of the night. But that being said, at the peak of his career, I don't think he was able to beat Johnny Hendricks once. I mean, yeah, he went and got the second fight between them two, but I thought it went to Johnny Hendricks' time. And again, I state again, that was at the peak of Robbie Lawler's career. Imagine now when he fought somebody like Dos Anjos, Rafael Dos Anjos, that's a blown up lightweight that came up to fight in welterweight because his division was too stacked for him and was able to beat Robbie Lawler. So imagine him fighting somebody like Ben Askren that, yeah, he's a little older, but he's not washed up whatsoever. He's beating guys left and right. And listen, I take Ben Askren in a decision. What's your take?
I want to say that this fight, so the thing about Robbie Lawler is that if he wins, he stays around. If he loses, I don't think he's going to be in the UFC any longer. So if anything, what I truly see from Robbie Lawler is trying to knock the guy's head off in the first round. And I think he's going to give it his all to try to beat this guy in the first round. Second round's going to come. He's going to be too gassed. Ben Askren's going to take him to the floor. He's going to finish him pound and ground second round.
You meant to say ground and pound. But I get it. Hey, listen.
You know what I mean.
If Robbie Lawler goes and wins this fight, I think the next thing that he should do is fight somebody like Darren Till. I know he's going to be fighting on the England card coming up. Take a few months off. Robbie Lawler takes a few months off. Darren Till is still ranked 3rd in the welterweight division. He lost against, Tyron Woodley. Shout out to Woodley. But at the end of the day, that could really move up Robbie Lawler's rankings in the welterweight division. At the end of the day, it was short-lived against Tyron Woodley. So therefore, you never know. But if Ben Askren goes and wins, he's easily in the top 10 in the welterweight division. He's not somebody to play around with. A lot of people compare him to Khabib. That's why somebody like Ben Askren wants to fight a catchweight fight with Khabib by 165. See who the better ground fighter is. So anyways, we're going to move on.
Going back to that point, I think Ben is way too strong. For Khabib. Way too strong for Khabib.
We'll see.
And if they do the catch weight at 165, that's going to be an interesting fight.
Hey, listen, and hit that bell. Make sure you guys get more alerts on our following videos that we're going to be taking. We love you guys. We hope you guys support us. Hey, see you next time. Thank you. Okay, so the fourth fight that we're going to go to is the co-main event, Usman versus Tyron Woodley. Long story short, I think Woodley's going to take this fight. Reason being is because everybody's scared of Usman. Everybody's talking about how he's finishing everybody. But at the end of the day, I don't think he's fought anybody. He has 2 finishes in the UFC for him to be getting credit as a finisher, as a scary guy. One being the Ultimate Fighter submission that he had. And then the second one was a Sergio Moraes knockout that he has. Who the hell is Sergio Moraes? Or nobody. So that's my take on that. What's your opinion?
See, my bookie might think I'm crazy because I'm taking Usman. And the only reason I'm taking Usman is because, he has a puncher's chance. I feel like he has a strong enough stand-up that he could probably take the fight to distance because I feel like that's the only way he's going to win if he takes the fight to distance. But Usman is a big underdog in this fight. I don't see him knocking out Woodley. I don't see him submitting Woodley because Woodley's one of the best grapplers, defensive side of the things in the octagon. Yeah, like I said, my bookie might think I'm crazy because I think Usman got a punching chance, but he does not stand toe-to-toe to Woodley.
Listen, Usman relies a lot on his takedown offense, and Tyron Woodley is one of those wrestlers that actually is similar to Chuck Liddell, uses the wrestling as an advantage because he doesn't take guys down, he prevents you from taking them down, and if the fight is in a stand-up game, I think it's an advantage for Woodley because again he does possess the one punch knockout power as he's shown before. Hey, case in point, his last fight, Darren Till, he didn't knock him out, but at least enough to drop him where he's comfortable on the ground game. If you notice on his last fight, he did receive his black belt. So, he's confident on the ground standing. So, I think in my opinion, Usman is going to have a lot of trouble against Woodley if he's not able to take him down. If Damian Maia wasn't able to do it and all those takedown attempts, then I don't think Usman is going to be able to. And on top of that, a lot of people talk about Woodley being a boring fighter. I don't think he's a boring fighter. I think he's a strategic fighter. I want you to talk a little bit about that.
See, Woodley, he's one of the smartest fighters right now in the UFC just because he picks and chooses his shots. He's not going to rush into anything. He's going to come out. He's going to see what exactly you're going to be doing because he's going to have his game plan. He's going to stick to his game plan. The only way you could see him changing his game plan if he sees something where he could finish the fight.
Absolutely. And listen, case in point, he fought Stephen Thompson twice and he got a lot of criticism on that fight. The first fight was actually a pretty solid fight and the second fight was relatively boring. Damian Maia was relatively boring, but as Alexi just said, it all depends on the game plan, on the matchup. Stephen Thompson is actually a very, very good fighter. He actually finished the middleweight champ of the world in Robert Whittaker. And think about it, he's a welterweight. So if he's able to beat the middleweight champ of the world, what do you think he would have been able to do to Tyron Woodley that is lighter than Robert Whittaker? Exactly. So that's my point on that. So I'm actually taking Tyron Woodley TKO in the third round. What's your opinion on that?
So what I'm saying is that if Usman's going to win, the only way he's going to win is this fight goes to distance. He's not going to win try to throw that power punch because Woodley's good enough of a counter fighter for him to land that big shot. So I'm going to say, this is my wild pick. I'm going to say Usman beats Tyron Woodley. Wow. Decision.
Okay. All right. I mean, we got to have some sort of underdog win the fight tonight. So,
hey, guys, take this time. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that notification button.
All right. So now we're moving on to the main event of the evening. Anthony Smith against John Bones Jones. In my opinion, he's the greatest fighter in the UFC history. I think he's the greatest of all time. No disrespect to Anderson Silva, but I think he's going to come out here and do what John Bones Jones does. Let's go.
See, I agree with you completely. Right, John Jones is one of the greatest fighters of all time, and one of the things I love about John Jones is that when he's dedicated to training, there's nobody stopping him. His last fight was literally 6, 8 weeks, 9 weeks ago, and he's already fighting again, and he's gonna fight against Anthony Smith. Man, John Jones is a freak athlete, man, and like I said, he is one of the greatest fighters of all time, bro. And I don't think he's the greatest, right?
Who's the greatest?
Oh, man. I love GSP from me.
All right. Hey, listen. Hey, shout out to GSP. He just retired. So, hey, thanks for all the years that you gave to us. But listen, we're going to move on, right? Here we go with the fight. Reason why I think John Jones is going to win this fight is Anthony Smith is known to be a slow starter. You can't be a slow starter against John Bones Jones because the deeper that he gets into the fight, the better that he gets. I'm going to give you an example, right? John Jones is an extremely long fighter, has an extreme reach advantage on most of his opponents. He's tall, just like Anthony Smith. So remember, when Anthony Smith fought Hector Lombard was able to use the leg kicks over and over again in that fight before getting TKO'd in the third. Anthony Smith was not able to do anything about that. And John Jones' biggest weapons is that inside leg kick. So I think he's going to be able to use the outside and that inside leg kick to keep Anthony Smith on his tracks. He's not going to be able to react the way that he likes to do. So that's my take on that. Go ahead.
So you don't give Anthony Smith any chance? See, my thing is this: if it's past the third round, Anthony Smith is in trouble because that means he's been getting a beating off fight. Only way Anthony Smith wins this fight if he knocks out John Jones. I do not see him taking this fight to distance and winning and letting the judges score this fight because all I think is John Jones is going to dominate him.
Listen. Of course, there's a chance. That's why Anthony Smith is in this position. He's finished every single fight that he's been in. You know, when he fought his last fight, yeah, he finished via submission, but it's still a finish. He wanted that fight a little more. He started off a little shaky. Volkan was in that fight, but you know what? He wanted it more, and credit to him. But at the end of the day, like I said, he's fighting John Jones. I don't think he's gonna be able to take him down just like he did with Volkan. He did get that. I'm sorry, excuse me. John Jones did get taken down against Gustafsson with that double leg takedown, but he shot right up. I don't think John Jones is going to get taken down by Anthony Smith, just like Volkan did, and actually stay on the ground. Nobody has been able to do that, not even DC. So honestly, in my opinion, I think that John Jones is going to be cautious with this fight because, again, that one-punch punching power, and he's just going to route to a unanimous decision fight. I don't think Anthony Smith is going to be able to withstand the 5 rounds. He doesn't have much experience in that aspect of the fight, and John Jones knows this. So shout out to John Jones.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. If this fight passes the 3rd round and Anthony Smith is still in it, that means he's getting a beating.
What's your take? What's your take? Who you got?
So I definitely got John Jones, and I do not see. I see the fight going to. I want to say this: 2nd round, minute left. John Jones submits him. Submission. John Jones submits Anthony Smith.
Well, there we go, ladies and gentlemen. That's our take on UFC 235. Listen in, watch in. Listen, we don't just watch these fights. We analyze them. And again, your opinions matter.
Exactly.
So, hit us up.
Hey, definitely write in the comments what you guys loved about this video. Let us know also what you didn't like. So like that we could improve on the next video and give you guys the best content.
Absolutely. We'll be here all week. Thank you, guys.